Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and this week we have another pointless match preview to do, even more pointless than last week, and last week's was called the most pointless match preview I'll do all season. We've topped that. We head into our final Europa League group stage match against Lille tomorrow night, a game which I don't have high hopes for, a game that will continue to pile on the misery for Celtic fans, and one that ultimately means bugger all. So, after the intro, we'll get talking about that. Quickly before the video starts, if you can, check out the top line of the description. You can go and download the channel sponsors app, the One Football app. The One Football app will allow you to do everything you need to know heading into the Europa League last 32, which Celtic aren't involved in. But it's a good way to keep up with the competition and every other competition under the sun that you can think of. You can check up player stats, live scores as they come in, news stories as they break, pretty much everything you need on that app. So check out the top line of the description, help me and the sponsors out, and I have some fun. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Right then, the camera is dwindling down in charge, so let's make this one quick, but I assume it'll be a quick one to make anyway. The kind of overwhelming story going into this game is nothing to do with the game itself, and it's what's happening over at Celtic Park, in fact. As we know, fans are disgruntled towards the board, towards the manager. Things are needing to change at Celtic, and now more than ever we find ourselves in a position where the relationship between fans and the board is pretty rocky. Rocky is probably an understatement. It is a toxic relationship now. The banner years this summer dubbing it in the opposition are well and truly underway. Every day a new banner is unfurled outside Celtic Park, and quite rightfully so. We are looking at a board now who have put a completely different point of view and as the priority of the club than what the fans would want and expect. The business relationship between the manager and the board seem to have been prioritised over the club's matters as a footballing club. It's a disaster, and it's a whole video in itself. I mean, if I was to sit here and talk about A, my views, and B, the views of the Celtic fan base, both sides of it, that would be a good 20 minutes, but this is meant to be a match preview at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, going into this game, it's going to be the major talking point. Will this game push the Celtic board over the edge and force them into making a decision? Because ultimately we could suffer a major loss here, a loss in terms of an embarrassment, because I can see Lille putting 4 or 5 past us, in all honesty, no matter who plays. Could it perhaps push change? No, it's not gonna. I think Neil Lennon will still be in the dugout come Sunday to play Kilmarnock, and past that, probably still in the dugout. The statement was released the other night there, which said we'll review things in the new year, which is shambolic. But as I said, it's a video in its own, and I'm sure if you've been following on with me on Twitter and all the rest of it, you will know my views very clearly. There's a video I actually want to do this week based on an article that I have wrote today, and we'll get to that. We'll talk about it a lot more then. But we take on Lille tomorrow in the Europa League. Now, the interesting thing is Neil Lennon has came out and said the squad will be used. We are finally making changes. Hey, expect to see the likes of David Turnbull, expect to see the likes of Ismaila Soro, and expect to see the likes of Patrick Klimala. These 3 guys have been brought up in the pressers before the game now, and Neil Lennon says they will get their chance to get minutes under their belt. A little late, something that I think the majority of the Celtic fans have seen is needed over the past few months, seen as a necessity over the past few months, but it's just taken Neil Lennon till this game, which means nothing, to get him on the park. You look at Scott Brown, who's 35-year-old, should not be playing the amount of minutes that he is. You know, no 35-year-old in world football is playing 2 games a week, 4 weeks a month. It's madness that we've put so much minutes into his legs, and he's not even been providing us with a lot of quality. And now it's taken to this point in the game, it doesn't matter for Neil Lennon to go, we'll see what these guys do. While he's at it, he may as well shove Connor Hazard in goals, because as we know, Scott Bain and Vasilis Barkas are beyond useless at this point. And the relationship between the backline and the goalkeeper is as toxic as the one between the fans and the board. So it's a really weird scenario we find ourselves in, but it's good to see these guys will get a run out tomorrow. But for me, as I'm sure many of you agree, it's too little too late. It is a positive, but it's a positive in a sea full of negatives. If you go through Twitter, it is a minefield of lol out, Lennon out tweets. And I honestly can't sit here and say it's nothing short of deserved towards the Celtic board. They should be out. They should be changed, especially in that managerial role. And the fact it's taken so long is a joke. But let's not revert back to that just now. Let's revert to the game tomorrow. Of course, the first game against Lille was a positive over in their ground. We went up 2-0. It was a good start. but we squandered it. Half time, the changes were made. Lille played their best team in the second half. They brought on key players. They brought on your Yilmaz, they brought on Renato Sanchez, and the complexion of the game changed. We threw away a 2-goal lead and left with what was our only point of the group, and what I imagine will remain our only point in the group. I don't have a lot of faith for tomorrow, and it's gotten to that point, and I understand there will be a lot of people in the comment section who will hit me with the whole, at this point you're just wanting Celtic to lose, and hurry up and be confident, hurry up and be positive. Do you realise what an impossible ask that is, to remain positive in a time like this? The sentiment of what has been, hang outside the stadium with the lols out and the Celtic FC not PLC is pretty much the cloud over everyone's head. And for me to sit here and claim there is a chance of Celtic winning the game tomorrow is futile. It would be beyond deluded for me to say there's any hope of us getting anything tomorrow. And as much as I want these guys to get a chance, Lille are still playing. Lille want points, and Lille have been doing very well in their domestic league as well over in France. So what indication to me would say that Celtic can get something from this game tomorrow? So for the people who are wanting to comment, you just want us to lose at this point, that is not the case. It's never the case. I never want Celtic to lose a game, no matter what the consequence may be after it. If Celtic lost tomorrow and it meant, I would maybe take that to see Lennon go. The people who comment about league games, or you just want Celtic to lose this weekend so Lennon's gone and all the rest of it, and that's never the case. The fact that we're already 13 points behind, for me to come out and say something as ridiculous as I would love Celtic to go even further behind would be ludicrous on both my part and your part to suggest it. Ultimately, I just don't believe we can get points tomorrow, because we're not good enough to get points tomorrow, and we've shown we're not good enough to get points tomorrow. That is the reality in what I am saying. Domestically, Lille come into this game in a pretty good run of form. They've taken on 3 of the top flight French sides in the past 3 match days. I mean, they're not exactly going to play the second division sides, are they? But they've won a 4-0 against FC Lorient, a 1-1 draw with a good side in Saint Etienne as well, and a 2-1 win in their most recent game against Monaco. Lille are meaning business this season, second, not far behind PSG in the Ligue 1 table. It's a team that we know can deal damage, and I think the fact that they played a slightly weakened side against us in the first match-up over in their stadium really complimented us in the situation. When they did make those changes, they looked far better than us systematically. They were far better set up than us, and I feel like as a team that, once again, as I've said in every match preview this season, will know exactly what the weaknesses are in Celtic. They will exploit us from set pieces, they will take advantage of slow and sloppy defending, and ultimately they'll have too much for us to handle, even at Celtic Park. And we've just been as bad at Celtic Park this season as we have been away from home, so really these home and away encounters mean absolutely bugger all at this point. So it's a team who I am very confident will go into this match firmly favourites and leave with a very flattering result. Flattering is probably not the word, a very well deserved result, and a result that, damages our reputation even further on a European stage. Of course, Lille are through to the next round. They're currently top of the group with 11 points. AC Milan second on 10. Both of those teams are through, but Lille know that they need to go out here tomorrow and get a win to ensure they keep that top spot. A top spot in the Europa League groups for a team who does have European ambition means a lot. They'll want to go on and get an easier tie in the last 32 so they can go even further in the competition, and by finishing second in the group, you're leaving yourself open to a situation where you could be playing teams that are dropping down from the Champions League. And in a year like this, which sees teams like Real Madrid, Manchester United all potentially dropping into that category of Europa League sides after January, it means that they would love to avoid those sides. They would love to go far. I'm sure Lille would like to add a European trophy to their cabinet. So it's going to be a good game for them. They'll be hungry. I'm sure they'll want something, and the fact that we are playing lesser players will give them more of a, I think, ambition to go and score as many goals. On that note, I'm very happy Celtic are making those changes, because I believe it's damage limitations at this point, and these guys do need minutes. Apparently players need to get fitter anyway, but Lille will go out there tomorrow and get the business done, I imagine, while we sit and watch the same mistakes unfurl. A lot of people bring up the point, does it even matter we're making these changes tomorrow? Is it the game we should be bringing in Soro and Turnbull and Klimala? And this isn't my point of view, this is the point I've been given. When in reality, Sunday, Lennon will go back to the same old. He'll play the same trusted team, a team that is failing with the same tactic that's failing. Or I should say lack of tactic is failing, but it is important these guys get minutes and hopefully they give a good account of themselves. If you see Turnbull and Sorrow do well tomorrow and Celtic do manage to get a result, then for me there is no question whatsoever to the point that they should be thrown into the team come Sunday. They should be playing against Kilmarnock, and for me they should be in that game anyway. I think Turnbull and Sorrow are two players who should be in the 11. Kamara maybe a little more controversial to say should be in that position, but these are players that should be in the team. I think Brown and McGregor haven't exactly been up to it recently. I think think giving Sorrow and Turnbull a chance in the team might inject some life, so inject some competition, ultimately give us a spark that we've been missing. So it's a good start on Thursday to get them in the team, absolutely, but ultimately it's going to be another European loss, I think, and I hate that it's got to the point that I sit down behind the camera and say that. And the complexion between now and last year when I was making these Europa League videos is night and day. Last year I was confident we could go into every Europa League game and get 3 points, or at least challenge a team. You know, when we played Lazio away, I didn't come down and sit in the camera and go, we'll win this. But we did win it. But I knew we could challenge them. And in the space of a year, you know, a year ago yesterday, we were over at Hampden celebrating our 10th consecutive trophy win. And now we're looking at a position where fans are so disconnected with the board and the team. And it's saddening. A year's difference, eh? Where'd it come from? I'd love to know. As for the rest of the 11, I feel like it's pretty impossible to predict. If he is willing to give these guys a chance, God knows what else he's willing to do with the team. So I'm not going to bother predicting a starting 11. I think it'll be interesting to see what he does go with tomorrow, and hopefully it does work. I would love to see us get something, and I'd love to see players like Turnbull and Sorrow and Kamala get the confidence they need to stay in the team. So I'd love to go out and see, love to see them go out and get goals or whatever tomorrow, or just solid performances that keeps the momentum rolling for them. But ultimately, we've seen how we've played in Europe this year, and what I've come to expect is nothing but everlasting unhappiness. So, yes, that was a very, 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 very sad statement, that. But you know what I'll do anyway. If you've enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It's been a good laugh with the Europa League this season, hasn't it? And thank God we're going to have it tucked away under our belts. I'm sure the match reaction to follow tomorrow will be entertaining for all, depending on the scoreline. So make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.